There, there I am. There I am. Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict Live. Sunday, it's the Sunday hangout time where we're going to talk about UFOs, a lot of nonsense, and probably what's going on with the James Webb telescope, because literally, as we've just been down in the backstage, shit's going down. But guys, make sure you do all the stuff. Make sure you go out and check out our podcast, because we just do not miss a day, because the reptilians don't take days off. Without further ado, though, let's bring on my fellow reptilian, Lee Stevens.
Probably don't want to say we don't take days off. That's kind of trademarked.
How do we say it again?
We say it's your daily conspiracy news podcast.
Sorry,
because
vetted.
reptilians don't take days off.
That's it. Yeah, vetted.
Yeah, it's like we can't go around like arguing with people having a go at vetted and then try and steal us IP.
No, it's good IP.
Although if you want me to chip your tooth just like for authenticity's sake, I'll do it.
I think he's got that back in now, hasn't he?
Yeah, but you've still got to break it to fix it. And
That
I'm
is
happy
true.
to break it.
That is true. That is true, Lee. Matt, welcome to Alien Addict, my lad.
Hey, my first time ever. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to finally be here.
It's great to see you. It's great to finally put a face to the voice.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's finally great to meet you guys. How you doing?
And the long lost missing wonder, Nick. How you been, lad?
All good, bruv. It's nice to be back. It's been a while, and see the beautiful faces and everyone in chat as well. Yeah, so yeah, nice to see everyone.
And for the podcast, if anybody's listening right now, you want to come and check out the live show, Nick is wearing an Alien Addict t-shirt, and may I add, how fine it looks on you, my friend.
It does.
Oh, thank you. It's great quality, and it's can use it as a cum rag if you wanted to.
Fun
we
fact.
3 minutes? We're 3
Fun
minutes.
fact.
No joke out there, just to clear the air a little bit, you know.
2 out of every 10 sold come pre-cum ragged.
Ooh.
I've heard it's impossible to sweat in it. Is that true?
Yeah,
if you get
the cum ones are pretty solid.
Yeah. And salty.
So Lee, what's been going down on X? Because we've got a show that's titled "UFOs Why The Cover-Up," and it seems pretty fitting right now because something's going on with the James Webb telescope.
Oh, I said I was looking at it. I don't know what's going on. I saw a clip from Russ Coulthart saying that he's been told that there is the James Webb telescope's picked something up, and there is a.
Can we see this clip?
Oh, that'd be nice.
If you look for it.
Oh God.
Yeah. So apparently there is something that's headed towards Earth that's course corrected, which leads people to believe that it's like intelligently controlled. I like to divert from this slightly while Ollie finds the clip of it's on X if you just type in Ross Coulthart, James Webb. I find it weird that this is popping up, and we have been told to expect another moon in a couple of weeks.
Expect another moon? What do you mean?
Have you not heard of this?
No, this is new for me.
Yeah. So apparently it is fucking terrifying, actually, and it's got "Don't Look Up" vibes all over it. Apparently, there is a satellite of some sort, meteor, comet, rock, whatever it is, that's going to come close to Earth. It is going to be sucked into our gravity, and for a short period of time, we will be able to see 2 moons in the sky.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm blown away.
Yeah,
slightly on the wild side.
Now, the thing is, considering the moon controls our fucking tides, and obviously I take it that whatever this thing is, it's going to be much smaller than our moon. But still, is that not going to have some sort of fucking effect on us?
I would assume it depends on how big it is. But if we ask Roth Coulthart, he's going to say big. they had to put a building around it.
So a second moon is going to come into our vicinity.
You'll be able to see it in the sky. Yeah, we apparently we're going to have 2 moons for a short time. Now, what I would say is, and this is the terrifying part of it, let's just say there is something headed towards Earth, and it's going to make like impact with us. And there's going to be a point where you're going to be able to see that in the sky. What would you do to buy more time before people realize there's something going on?
I mean, forget that. If that thing sticks about and women have 2 periods in 1 month, we're screwed.
Well, technically, no, we'd be getting less screwed, but carry on.
Dude. Hey, look, some guys don't care. I've heard stories. I'm not me personally, but I've heard stories.
Well, yeah, vampires love it.
So basically, you're saying that the whole entire generation of women are going to get really pissed off when that thing comes into orbit. Pretty much, yeah.
Oh
no, this is a scary one, man. Because do you know how close this thing is going to get? Are they predicting? Is it going to go between the Earth and the Moon or something thereof?
Well, I mean,
that big.
As far as I know, it's going to orbit us. If anyone in the chat knows more about this than I do, I didn't expect us to talk about it tonight. Otherwise, I'd have looked it up a little bit more. But I'll do some research in a minute and have a little check up on it. But like I said,
shall I hit Ross?
It's got, but the whole thing, has got.
He's red enough. Don't hit him again.
Just put a building around him. It's got fucking like the whole don't look up thing was there was a comet in the sky that was coming towards Earth, or a meteor that was coming towards Earth, and they were doing everything to placate people into thinking that there was nothing wrong. Or it could be Nibiru, or it could be a spaceship, or it could be a hole in the firmament. Press play.
I just changed my lighting to match Ross's face.
I'm hearing a lot of rumors about the James Webb Space Telescope having detected something significant. I tweeted about it just yesterday, but apparently NASA's announced the detection of a potential signature of extraterrestrial life in the atmosphere of a planet located 120 light years away. And apparently the James Webb Space Telescope produced a potential detection of the molecule dimethyl sulfide, which is only produced by living organisms on Earth. It's a tentative detection, and they're preaching caution before they declare it's aliens. But what we can expect is that there's going to be clarification of that this year. And I think that's one thing that the government of the United States is already aware of and sitting on. I think they know the answer already. That's at least what I've been told. I'm hearing a lot.
I mean, I'm not ready to get over this. At that point, I'm still getting over the second moon.
There was another guy. Sorry, he was talking about the readings there. It's fine, but there was another guy. A clip. I can't remember the guy's name now. He was the one that was talking about the what you call it, the thing headed towards Earth.
So this is like a Muamua 2.0, the kind of thing we're looking at?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, the thing with the Muamua was it just floated in and went, didn't it? Whereas this thing's apparently going to come stick around for a bit and then disappear. What I find weird is, and again, I'm a fucking painter and decorator that has just enough self-belief to talk about bullshit he doesn't understand on the internet. Like, how easy is it for something to escape Earth's gravity? If something gets into Earth's gravity and becomes a moon, kind of stays there. That's the whole fucking point of why the space station's there, surely.
Yeah, but if you think that asteroid is coming at a trajectory like 1,000 miles an hour, it's going to hit the orbit, but it's also going to swing as well. So
yeah, but that means it would do what a Muamua would do and just come in and swing out and go and fuck off back into deep space. But this thing's going to orbit us for a while. For a time. Apparently, we're going to have 2 moons that you can see.
Well, this is an article from Forbes, whether I want to trust these people or not. So Earth to get a new moon on September the 29th, scientists say. So new moon. So on, what's that? When it says PT, what's that? Pacific time, is it?
I don't know.
I don't think it's referencing that. What is
PT5.
2024 PT?
No?
Oh no, that's the name of the asteroid.
Yeah.
Asteroid, yeah, so
2024
I'm being
PT5.
dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all experts.
So,
We're gonna figure this out right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Matt, I'm
We've
going to leave this
cracked
to
it,
you,
lad.
mate, because
We understand the name. We've cracked it. Right. Next problem.
So it says here that PT5, which is the name of the asteroid, is near Earth, and it will be 11 meters in diameter. Matt, read this, mate. I'm going to screw this up. I can't read.
It is 11 meters in diameter, about the same as 2 giraffes. I love giraffes.
What a fucking strange system of measurement.
Super weird. It's almost kind of like when Elizondo said, "Hey, you know when you have a lightning storm outside your house, you don't put up cameras." Yeah, it's pretty weird. Let's get really weird about it.
Same as 2 giraffes. Or
I
sorry,
think you're all crazy. I mean, I've always used giraffes as a measurement. Carry on.
I hope it's colored like a giraffe, has spots. That's my favorite.
Are they? So just quickly, are they international giraffes or American giraffes? Because we measure giraffes differently.
That's true. They could be different. It's known as a Arjuna asteroid, and its existence has been revealed by a study published in the journal Research Notes of an American Astronomical Society. Approaching Earth at close range and at a low relative velocity, it will go into orbit on September 29th and depart on November 25th. When it returns to orbiting the sun, it will also come very close to Earth on January 9th, 2025, the report states. So what, January is where we're going to have it be closest? Yeah.
So hang about. We're not going to get another moon. We're just going to get a big, massive rock the size of 2 giraffes going around the Earth.
Yeah, but you're going to be able to see it, but apparently.
Yeah, that's because it's the alien mothership.
It's just one of those things. I don't know how many times I trip over my own words there, but there's just never a normal day anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's never a normal thing. Like it's you wake up and go, oh, what's going on today? Oh well, P Diddy's been arrested and he's put bail up. He's offered 50 million and they've refused 50 million bail.
It's crazy.
That's normal.
Yeah, clearly nothing to hide. But yeah, it seems like everything's a crisis at the moment. It's like you can't have a day where we could just relax and switch off. It's just one thing after another after another. I mean, after what happened after the pandemic, I mean, I don't really believe anything anymore, really. Everything's just gone so topsy-turvy. Everything, like the world has gone, like black is white, is up is now down. It's just crazy.
For anybody who's not a conspiracy theorist right now,
How
not going nuts.
Well, they just haven't turned their Taylor Swift off yet. They're just still listening every day, and that's all they're doing. So, as soon as they turn it off and they look at something, they're gonna go, "Oh, what the hell is going on?" Yeah.
If you're not a conspiracy theorist at this point, I think you're a coincidence theorist. Because you just live in a world of fucking weird coincidences.
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences anymore.
No,
I think it's all aligned how it should be. The universe is set. And yeah, coincidences, I don't know. There's too many of them these days in 2024.
Do you know what? Because I've been watching loads of stuff on. I keep saying this on podcast, but I keep watching loads of stuff about the sort of old world and Tartaria stuff right now. That's my conspiracy jam right now. And I was watching the newest video from on my lunch break before we went live. And he's done his part 3 on catacombs around the world, and he's picked up all these churches which have like mortuaries underneath them, and there's like thousands. Like there was one of them had like 3 levels of thing. There was like between 1 and 2 million people's bones that have been buried under this church.
It's in Paris, right? Isn't there one in Paris?
Yeah,
Yes.
Apparently the biggest one's in Ukraine. That's the biggest
wow.
known catacomb. But this one, which had like between 1 and 2 million people buried underneath it, there is a monument to it in the church, which is all decorated with human bones inside it. And in this archway of human bones, with skulls on the table, there's a plaque on the wall, and the plaque is, "We were once as you are now, and you will be as we are now." And it just makes me think that these motherfuckers know that there's like these turning events, and when they happen, loads of people die, we all get reset. They need to stick the body somewhere, and for some reason they fucking decorate catacombs with them.
It's almost like a physical reincarnation that goes on this rock that we're living on.
Maybe.
Like
I
they
don't
just
know.
keep recycling the old shit over and
So
over
what you
again. Maybe they're not the same people, but whatever's, because it does feel like it's something like that is going to happen again. I think one of the things to look at, which nobody really talks about, is those Georgia Guidestones that just got destroyed, because they had some clear warnings on there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not warnings, but what the population should be. And
times to
for
come.
no apparent reason, some guy just goes up to it and destroys it. And then the next day, without even trying to salvage it, they get rid of it.
Zero investigation, zero talk as to why somebody had used a fucking explosive on American soil to blow up a monument.
And what did they do with the rocks? What did they do with the stones? I sound like somebody from, it sounds like Poltergeist too. What did they do with those stones? Where are they?
Some sort of ceremony, I would imagine, because that isn't a coincidence. What it was, for those who in chat who listen to this, Georgia Guidestones gave a list of want to reduce the population by 500,000, be in par with nature. So it's like a list of things of what the population should be, which is very New World Order, WEF, World Economic Forum sort of style.
Hold the pale horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, we guys were talking about, so, and that got destroyed. But isn't it kind of odd since that was destroyed? Was it last year or a couple of years ago? Things are slightly ramped up since then. So it's almost like destroying that old philosophies, like the old sort of description, and starting anew. Does that make sense?
I think it's one of two things. I don't believe it was like just a random act of terrorism. Even if it was somebody like I don't even believe that it would just be some incentivized conspiracy theorist that decides I've had enough of this stuff, I'll go and blow it up. It is one of two things. I have looked at all this stuff enough now to believe that there's, I wouldn't go as far as to go like I'm down with all the Q stuff that was around a few years ago. In fact, I do think a large part of that was some sort of like psyop on people. Again, I don't think it was necessarily just made up as like some sort of LARP. I think there was something behind it, but I don't think it was like 100% on the level like it was supposed to be. I do believe that there are a death cult / I don't want to use words like Illuminati or stuff like that because it's so cliched now, but for all intents and purposes, that's what you're talking about. You're talking about a secret society. But I think I do think there's a pushback from another branch or another like a warring faction in this. You can call it white and black hats if you want, if that's how you feel about it. I don't think there's necessarily a goodie and baddie in it. I just think maybe one of the two sides doesn't want to kill half the population, and I wonder whether the Georgia Guidestones being taken out was either we'll go white and black hats just because it gives me a name. Black hats destroying the plans essentially. So when they start to happen, people can't go, what about these fucking stones here? Kind of feel a bit odd now. Or whether it was an act of resistance by the opposite side.
Which who would they be though? People like the Truth Movement.
Truth Movement. Look, I don't believe, and I know this is a hot topic now to say in conspiracy circles. I don't believe that Trump is in with those people, and I don't believe Elon Musk is in with those people. I think all you need to do is look at how much pushback they get and who they annoy. You know, it's like just look at the amount of musicians that have come out in support of Kamala Harris since P. Diddy's arrest. Like that fucking energized some people to all of a sudden become fucking political. You know, and there was no hint of them beforehand.
You're muted, Ali.
I have no idea why you mute your mic anyway.
I think I needed to burp really loud. I was just saying, hasn't Eminem just endorsed?
Yeah, just today. Eminem did today.
Who do you endorse?
Kamala.
Oh.
And Paramore. I think Paramore as well.
Yeah, Haley Williams.
Yeah,
but
Haley
that's
Williams,
why I can fix her though. She'll be fine. But the but yeah, like it's all these people have just like come out of the woodwork since P. Diddy's arrest, and you go, feels timely.
What about the people deleting the tweets, bro? Like Usher went through, deleted all the tweets.
Pink deleted every tweet she's ever done today.
Yep.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
It seems like the rap community, well, I won't call them a community, they're just the rap center, I would say. I mean, they're all falling apart now. Like the big, you know, like P. Diddy and the rest of them are starting to come out. I mean, they're all connected together, so who knows what's going to happen. But it's shocking, isn't it? It's like, can we listen to these music anymore?
The funny thing is, who would have had 50 Cent clean as a whistle? I wouldn't have done. And he seems to be completely untouched by all these people.
He's like a lovely man.
There's still time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what is going to happen when all the shit is about to hit the fan and everything's going to come out from these celebrities. We're going to get disclosure. We're going to get fucking ships over cities.
Blue beam.
Do you know why this is why I think it's bullshit, and this is why I think the any end of world style things, you know, as far as like near Earth asteroids and stuff like that. The reason I think it's all nonsense is because if it wasn't all nonsense, these people wouldn't be panicking. If they thought there was an expiration date on things anyway, they'd already be in the bunkers and they'd have just fucking pieced out and leaving us to go crazy on the surface.
Yeah, why tell us like this mass chaos would be horrible? I mean, why deal with it if you can't change it? You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I know the apocalyptic. I can't pronounce it. I can't say the
apothecaries.
Word.
Philosopher's Stone.
Basically, the end of the world. Basically, what I'm trying to say. The A word I can't bloody pronounce.
Apocalyptic.
Yeah, that's the word. Thank you, Matt. That kind of reminds me of like 2012 effect, because I remember that clearly. Like the end of the world was going to happen, but it seems to be more in the public domain now. I mean, I would say public domain, but you can sense it everywhere. Like something's happening. But I had the same effect back in 2012. So it's like a cycle, isn't it? In my opinion, I don't know if you paid attention back in the day, the 2012. It was a big thing in the truth movement.
I thought
it really was.
Like I went into
my mate Casey student
hard. Yeah,
I wondered. Yeah.
I think I've told the story on here before about 2012. And my mate just crying on my shoulder in the kitchen over a glass of wine.
Do you want to know what made me think that the world was actually going to end in 2012? Was the fact that
Go on,
they
then.
postponed the next Xbox and the next PlayStation. Genuinely, because the 360 and PS3 generation were extended, weren't they? Which
Yeah,
is
they
obviously
were.
now because the 2008 financial collapse. But in my head, I was like, going, what do they know?
There's no point in them making any more games.
There's no point in new consoles because we're all dead when this Mayan calendar comes round.
Yep.
Between
But
them
you
and
see what I
new-
mean? But you see what I mean? Like the effect of that is almost like the same as it is in 2024. But it's almost like a crisis after a crisis, so which doesn't help the public psyche. You know, it's like adding extra stress. And when people are stressed, they kind of like look for answers which they can't find because we're living in a world of chaos at the moment.
Yeah.
And no, go on, Lee.
I was just going to say, because I do often wonder this to myself quite a lot. So like in the 80s, for instance, let's go back a couple of decades. Is this just something that happens to you when you're like middle age, where you start becoming hyper aware of all the things that are around you? But now the difference is we're all hyper aware in a hyper connected world, so we can all be paranoid together. But then when we're all grey and old, and the 50-year-olds and 40-year-olds of the time are going that like doom is nigh, we're going to be like, oh, we thought doom was nigh as well. And look, we're still here.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that around your late 30s, 40s, you start to kind of realize just your own mortality, right?
Mhm.
You know, like look what I'm dealing with, the back problem kicks in, you know, you get issues here and there, and that just invincibility feeling goes away.
Yeah.
Then you start looking around at everything else around you and you go, okay, well, that's something that could also screw me up. And that's a problem. You start almost like looking for where your demise is going to come from, even though you've got probably a lot of time, right? But it's something that just comes to the forefront and it just starts to like tint your sunglasses towards that vision, right? I think it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I think
it's
the thing is when you look at the World War III talk and stuff now, you know, the idea of nuclear exchanges and things going on. Like the people that panic over World War III now would not have made it through the Cuban Missile Crisis. They would have vibrated themselves to the point that the atoms broke down. You know, like we've seen nothing as terrifying or as close to a nuclear exchange as that. But yeah, but it seems to be so hype now. But when you actually take a step back from it, we don't. It doesn't seem like we're anywhere near that level of tension yet.
Have you ever been on the verge of the whole conspiracy that nukes
Yes,
don't exist?
Don't carry on. Just yes. Yeah, like the
I know you've got a relative as well that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had a relative that survived Hiroshima, but she survived well into her 80s.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, she was a child. Her whole family was killed in the initial blast. And she was sent essentially when they were distributing people without homes. She was distributed to where I live. But the thing I was going to point out, I don't know, and I'm not smart enough. I'm like it's literally nuclear science, so I'm not smart enough to tell you what's real or not. What I do think's fishy is those fucking test videos.
Oh yeah, where it looks like they're like model homes and stuff like that. Yeah, they're horrible.
One of the cars disappears before one of the
true.
blasts. That's
Right.
weird.
Right.
I've already looked it up and I've looked into what the cameras were that we used and where the cameras were during the explosion for the thing. And it's you go, right, that's great. So they were in this sort of like concrete bunker thing. And there you go. Awesome. It's a nuclear explosion. Like it's a nuclear explosion. The most powerful things we have in the world. So okay, concrete bunker. Then you think to yourself, okay, well, how far would that have to be? Because radiation fucks camera film. And then And then if you're close enough to the point where there's radiation there, how do we go and get that shit back? How do we get that through? Even if the building is fine, how do we go into that building, take that out, and then remove it without that film, like, even looking weird? Like, think about the was it Chernobyl that
Yes.
the helicopter crashed over?
Helicopter
Yeah.
and also a lunar rover got fucked up trying to do its work to
Yeah.
get rid of some of the shit.
But
That thing did not make it out of there.
But that helicopter, like, so this is where I think there's something. I think there is some sort of like tangible effect on things. But you can see the film in that in the helicopter when it goes over what was being filmed at the time. You could see the radiation effect in that film. I don't know. It's for like for me, nukes not existing. That's a step beyond like flat Earth for me.
It's really far, dude.
You're deep in the pond at that point.
Yeah.
I don't think World War III will happen. World War III will last about 15 minutes due to the nuclear weapons. Okay, the only people that are threatening war is America and UK. Okay, if you listen to what Putin has said this many times, he says the Western civilization are destroying themselves. They're destroying families, destroying their work. The whole tradition is gone. They're killing themselves from the inside out. We don't need to start World War III. You know,
See, Moody pointed something out here. They're saying Lee, they created a plastic that could take point-blank nuclear explosion, atomic. They coated the bunkers in the Cold War, later declassified and used on Hummers in the Iraq War. That's awesome. I'm just not sure I believe it. Yeah, but I'm not sure I believe it.
Yeah.
Because surely if you're just testing nuclear weapons, yeah, would it not be harder to create something that is going to handle levels of radiation when you're just testing the weapons originally? Do you know what I mean? It would be like
what they didn't know, though, right? I mean,
no,
maybe if you
that's
could,
what I mean. So unless they hit it really lucky first time round and invented something that was doing it, but it's kind of like trying to make a submarine when you don't really know what water is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they also theorized that they could have like ignited the whole atmosphere with the original, right?
Yeah.
The original task, right? So I don't know. You'd have to look at the medical records if you could, or see what happened to the guys who actually ran out and got the cameras. You know, what happened to them? You know, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen. There's a crane that used to pick up all the bits and pieces of Chernobyl, or like the graphite or something like that. And that crane was left in the field, and then there's photographs of like these women that are inside this crane, all died from radiation. Still to this day, it's called the crane of death, and this crane that we used to pick up, like say the graphite, is so radiated. Even to this day, you go inside it, that's it, you're dead. So it kind of it's a bit odd how these camera footage can survive, you know, the worst state of radiation.
His name escapes me. Do you know what? I'll try and endeavor to find who it was.
Is it the guy whose skin was melted? Is that the guy?
No. Hang on.
Have you seen? For those who don't know about radiation, what it can actually do to the body, there's this famous, I won't say famous, but this well-known case of this Chinese guy who had such bad radiation, it literally melted his skin. And there are pictures of it. And they tried to keep him alive. And you can just imagine the pain he was going through. You can Google the images if you want, but it literally changed the whole, it changes your structure of the DNA. And it just literally met his skin and all his muscle just literally deteriorated. It's harrowing.
Isn't there something like the guy that tested oh God, what were it? There were a guy that tested some sort of radiation thing with his hand.
I'm going
to microwave.
So here, I'm going to stick something in our chat, mate. You bring it up because for some reason my machine is. I'll put it in the private chat. My machine's pumping audio out of the machine and not into my headphones. So if I try and play it, it's going to sound awful for everybody. This guy ate radioactive material. He did it on more than one occasion, and he did it in front of people. And he was a nuclear physicist that claimed nuclear material wasn't dangerous.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he die of
Yeah, I
radiation
feel like
poisoning
I
at the
remember
end?
that too. Yeah.
I don't think so. He lived to a ripe old age, I think. But
Just shove it in there. That would do.
can you turn it up, Ollie?
Oh, it was a little bit of Wukong there in that clip.
The volume
Didn't
down.
what didn't Phil, oh go ahead, you got it.
That is where they got the stock sound for the Grudge.
Clearly.
Material that I just ate.
This man decided to eat radioactive uranium.
That material that I just ate is not soluble in body fluid.
Uranium is insoluble in water and resistant to stomach acid, so that ingested uranium would eventually become radioactive poop. Galen Windsor
And the
was the
Hulk.
renowned nuclear physicist who designed and operated many nuclear power
That AI upscaling is fucking freaky as hell.
plants in the US. His audacious acts extended to swimming in reactor cooling pools and even
That's
drinking
crazy.
its water for fun. Windsor believed that the fear of radiation has been exaggerated by federal energy cartels so they can retain control of the world's most valuable power resource and manipulate electricity prices. He wrote a book and went on extensive lecture tours to raise public awareness. He died in 2008 at the age of 82 from a disease you wouldn't
I'm
guess.
telling you what the problem is. Doing something about it, responsibility is yours.
From a disease you wouldn't guess and then didn't tell us. I'm going to say AIDS.
100% right.
Well, didn't Phil Schneider like sleep on a bed that had a bunch of like maybe unreacted uranium or something? There was some version of uranium he was sleeping on. That didn't really
He
work
had
out
eight-
well for him.
Yeah, he had 80 pounds worth of radioactive material underneath his
Mhm.
bed all the way throughout the 70s. In fact, there was the FBI was called to his place because people thought he was making actually like a nuclear bomb. Yeah, me and Hidden did a full episode on Phil Schneider. It's interesting, but yeah, he had like radioactive material, and he basically irradiated his housemates, and even radiated the bloody car park outside. The whole entire apartment complex was radiated, and this was actually backed up by FBI documents. So yeah,
And that,
So-
that was the last time Phil Schneider could ever get somebody to share a house with him.
yeah.
So that's what happened to his fingers. They didn't get shot off; they melted off.
Dude.
No, he cut him off.
No, he cut him off. Yeah.
He cut
Yeah.
him off. Yeah.
He
A
had
very
to cut
deeply
them off; they
disturbing
were
man.
turning black.
I'd be surprised. Yeah.
What if after doing a deep dive, what do you think of the Schneids?
Schneider, due to the declassified documents, I know that people don't believe in the FBI and stuff like that, but he went to a psychiatric ward in the 70s. He was on heavy medication, obviously the radiation. He's carrying those rocks around during the lecture tours in the 90s. He's basically
Yeah, that's right.
radiating other people in the public. He was a deeply disturbed man. He's been in and out of psychiatric ward, and he clearly himself. He wasn't killed by the government or anything like that. I really looking into it. I wish I did for about 2 weeks solid. And I was like, okay, a great storyteller, because he did not mention about. What's that?
There was something off about that death. Wasn't there something like black stuff coming out of his mouth?
No, because that body has been there for over a week, Ollie. When the body will blow after
okay.
3 days, and it will congeal and stuff like that. Yeah, there is a blonde woman that was going in and out, but she could have been a sex worker and all that, because I don't know, but anyway, but yeah, Phil Schneider, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm saying that he probably opted himself, and it's just a great, fantastic storyteller. Because you think he had Alien Digest? I don't know if you guys know that. His friend Ron Rumbold, And that's why he was actually killed. He was like his best friends with Phil Schneider. And after he died, Phil Schneider came out on the press circuit, but they had a Reader's
What was
Digest.
his name? Ron what?
Ron Rummel.
Ron Rumble.
Yeah, he was found dead in the park
Great
with his
name.
hands tied back. Yeah, I know. But he was into like UFOs and stuff like that. But Phil Schneider never mentioned the alien war. Remember the alien attack that he had
Yeah, the
in
Dulce.
the 70s? In Dulce, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't mention it in Aliens Digest, which I find quite odd. Which was a
Yeah,
magazine
I
that he put
remember
out.
his. I can't remember the name, but he did die under suspicious circumstances in a park.
Yeah, that's right. He was found shot at the back of
He
the
was
head,
shot,
and he
yeah.
had his
Mhm.
and he had his hands tied behind his back, and it was ruled as a suicide. So yeah. But if you want more information, there's a shout out. If you go to Hidden Underbelly, if you go into the live show, we did about a 3-hour show on Phil Schneider, like breaking down all the documents and going in a deep dive into it. So yeah, there we go.
I do find I find the Phil Schneider thing quite fascinating, especially after we looked into it too. But it's kind of this bit actually is in fitting with the title of tonight's show and the thumbnail of tonight's show, because I've been watching the X-Files recently again,
Same here.
and
Same here. Nice.
that series is wild to watch now. When you look back at the stuff we have been talking about on this show, but when you look at like the people like Bob Lazar, Phil Schneider's friend that died weirdly in a park, all these people like interlinked with this field, there's something to it. There really is. There's something to this subject, and people go missing, people get killed, weird grifts go on. People are grifting that have come out years ago and then coming back again. There's something so odd to this subject, and I can't put my finger on what it is. But I think there's meat and bones to this. I really do.
Well, then you have like Richard Doty. You have people who work for the Air Force that were in charge of screwing with people, like Paul Benowitz. I mean, you have like, yeah, these things have happened. Yeah, there's something that's been going on with it for sure. There is government involvement. It's there.
I think Lee it might have been you, Lee, or Dave that said this, but about Lazar being perfect for the job. Absolutely,
I think we've all said it at one point. Like he's easily discreditable. It makes you wonder whether you're like the brothel story with Lazar and stuff. Would it not make sense that if you were to like hire somebody, as well as giving them a backstory to explain what they were doing or where they were, you would create a backstory with enough problems in it that should they go rogue, you can use the backstory they've given them to discredit them.
Yeah, I mean, if you weren't going for the best of the best scientists, I guess it's possible. But I don't know. John Lear is such a wrench in that whole machine, though, man.
John Lear is a weird. He's a strange guy to be there, and but isn't it the way though that these people like connect with weird people like oddly. You know, we've seen that like Grush and Lou Elizondo and stuff like that had all like been what's his name? Fuck me. The two of them from
Corbell and Knapp.
Yeah. You know, they'd all linked up with each other like years ago before any of this stuff really got moving. I still find it fucking weird when you look now where the people have turned up. That fucking Alex Jones and Joe Rogan were like best mates in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, before the idea of being Joe Rogan was like in Joe Rogan's eye. You know, he was just a fucking stand-up comedian at the time that made people drink horse cum on television. You know, a
lot of it as well.
A lot of it. And realistically, even a small amount should be a lot. But yeah, I just find it weird that these people like link up with each other, and if it's not like planned and people aren't like pushed together for a reason, it could just be an example of just how small the world is. You know what I mean? It's the like fucking it's even myself. Like I've been a massive Formula One fan for fucking years, and lo and behold, I got fucking told that like my second cousin is an active Formula One driver. You go, oh, that's fucking a weird thing to just find out of fucking nowhere. So I take like weird things can happen.
Yeah, I had a weird experience. Ollie, you have the number 33 that occurs to you, doesn't it, from time to time?
Not just me now.
No,
Yeah.
that's fully passed on to me as well.
So for me, it's the 1111, and it started happening when I started researching Rick Clay again. He did a lot of research into 1111. Right, get this. So I was in the pub, it's my local pub, and this new barmaid was there, and on her chest here had number 1111. I was like,
how'd you notice that?
Because it was in my face. I'm like, man, yeah, they're big, and like you could not look away. I was just like, oh, you got number. May I ask, like, why have you got the number 1111? She says, oh, I see that symbol everywhere, that number everywhere. I'm like, yeah, same here. It's just that it was so odd to find someone else who had like, you see this symbol, well, it basically is number everywhere. Literally, I went shopping, and you can actually scan your shopping now on the little hand device.
Yeah.
And as I was about to pay, I looked, and it was like £11 and 11p. I was like, get out of here. Like, seriously, like, what's going on? I was just like, like, man, what the hell is going on? But yeah, it's just where those coincidences you find someone who's on the...
Welcome to the fucking club.
It's weird, isn't it? Is I can't say that's a coincidence, though. You can't say that's a coincidence.
I was noticing I was seeing 1134 all the time, and then you flip it and it's like hell, and you're like, oh man, I hope that's not what I'm seeing. But I'd see 1134 all the time, man. I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Did anyone see the? I won't be able to find it now to bring it up, but somebody was taking a like photographs of, I think it was a lightning storm. And in the frames of the lightning storm, you could see this weird, like fucking Matrixy style writing. Did any of you guys see that?
I didn't see that.
No, it was last week. I saw someone put it out, and I instantly would have gone. I'd have gone bullshit like straight away if it wasn't for the fact that I've heard of other people doing this, like seeing this stuff on psychedelics. Is like it comes to them like Celtic knots, and the idea being that where we got the idea of Celtic knots is it's actually what holds the fucking fabric of like time and space together. And I only saw like when we were away together. I only saw hallucinations apart from like at the beginning when I kept waking up from a trip. I wasn't like I didn't have visual hallucinations when I was around. It just kept fucking ripping me out of reality, and I was tripping out. But like when I got up to go to the toilet and stuff, I wasn't seeing things. Apart from, there was a mirror behind me, and as I was getting back down into the bed, I didn't like notice myself, which is probably a fucking good thing. But I saw like this strand going through. Like I could see one of these knots in the mirror, and it was like a green Celtic knot with writing down it. And when I saw the picture that this woman had put up, it was the same, like the patterns on it were the same patterns that were part of this Celtic knot that I saw. And it was really weird. It was just one of those things where I saw it. Well, fuck, I've fucking seen that before.
That's out there. I'll tell you what else is out there, Lee. I've been concentrating you telling that story. Your background is out there because those drum cymbals look like flying saucers flying over the.
Mate, you got to put a building around it. Mate.
Dude, you know what's funny about that? The building thing is like earlier in the week, I went back and I did a transcript of like John Lear giving like this 10-minute speech to Art Bell where he was like giving him a briefing, right? And what I found was interesting is nearing the end of that transcript, he makes a mention, and it's very kind of short, and it's just kind of there. He places a statement, and he says, right there is a saucer. It's 250 meters in diameter. And he goes, and that's just outside. He goes, it's so big they had to bury it. He goes, that's just outside of Dugway Proving Ground. And I thought to myself, I said, bury it. I said, that could mean like a couple of things. Like, did they really bury it? But did they bury it and build on it? And I know Coulthart has always said, you know what, it's not in the US, right, Ali? Didn't he say that? It's not in the US?
I think he did say it's not in the US.
But we kind of figured that that might be a diversion. And I don't know enough about
This
the outside.
one thing these people do is diversions.
Yeah. And so I wonder, because like, obviously Dugway Proving Ground Area 52, people like know about that story and everything like that. But like, I don't know if anybody knows the outside area. Maybe it's in city, maybe like Salt Lake City. I don't think is like too far from that out in Utah. If anybody knows like a big building or a building that seems out of place in that area, I would start looking around there, because every once in a while you hear about something like that from the past and you go, damn, that there could be something to that, right?
When they say put a building around it, you talking about housing, like you put a public area, because that really makes no sense if you've got a flipping like extraterrestrial craft
Right.
and you put a public place over it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, 250 meters diameter. I mean, it's big, but I wonder if it's mostly due to the weight. Like, I feel like they could move something like that, but maybe it was just heavy. It's not even really like the size of it being like a mothership being the issue. It's just the weight to try to get it out of there. I don't know. That just stuck out to me. I haven't heard anything like that, and it seems so random, right?
I mean, there's one of the oldest pyramids in the world is in China, and they blank refusing to acknowledge it. And what they managed to do is actually cover the whole thing with trees, so no one can actually see it. And it's clearly a pyramid. So I would have thought they would probably put vegetation over it, and I think that's probably a better way to turn it into like a forest than instead of putting buildings around it. You know, I don't know.
Giant
I don't know.
triangle forest.
Well, what's that quote you keep on saying? What's that quote you keep on saying, Matt? But the best lie is always the
best lie is a half truth. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're saying that about Ross. I think you're probably right on that one.
Well, the funny thing is I tweeted that.
If you want to see it?
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. Yeah. I tweeted that my thought at Ross, and I said, blink once for yes, twice for no. No response. I just wanted to see if I could scare the shit out of him if I was right. He'd be like, "How the hell does this kid know?"
So I would have 100% put this down.
I see what you're saying.
Whoa.
As
Hold on,
nonsense.
man. That's what?
Well, we were seeing those green lights, Lee. Remember there was videos like a few months ago that were coming through the sky? Those green beams?
Yeah.
Oh, I caught something like that in the sky. I also caught a UFO
lettering,
yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
But those types of symbols are exactly what I've seen before.
Yeah, it's like Matrix sort of style.
Exactly.
I think I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Did you see that at Dave's?
No, well, I saw it when we went to America.
Yeah, that's what I mean. In America.
Yeah.
I saw that when we were in that field bit. I saw that. Sat down.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything like it.
Looking through the trees, I saw something similar to that.
Yeah, just like to be cool.
No, I definitely saw something similar to that. Now that I'm seeing that, not that color at all.
I've seen it on the Roswell I-beam.
Yeah, it's similar, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, no. I just when I saw that, I thought, fuck, I've seen that shit before. I also like the fact that the woman that did it is definitely a student of the Cousins brothers. It's like,
go over this, man. I want to go over it.
Not ready enough.
It's like, I wonder if people will notice the fucking green fucking writing in the sky. Maybe I should point it out.
Something weird here. Tell us what you guys think. Help us out. It's so funny, man.
you think that's some sort of universal code then?
For the
If it is real.
simulation? Yeah.
Yeah,
Could
most
be,
probably,
yeah.
How
Um,
wild would that be if, like, that green matrix code is actually what it looks like?
A
well,
glitch? Yeah.
Look, these things come. These ideas come from somewhere. If I was going to throw it out, because I don't necessarily believe in the simulation theory. I think we're really good at humanizing things. So it's like we humanize aliens all the time. For instance, we give them human emotions without even realizing we're doing it. There's why would something like that even be malevolent or malevolent? They might not even have fucking emotions as we perceive emotions to be had. So like when it comes to simulation theory, we're just like, oh, it's a video game just like The Sims, because that's fucking really simple and we made it up. If I think there's anything like that, I think it's I believe that like what people refer to as like the DMT realm is like a non-physical place we can go, whether it's like where we go when we leave like physical form, I think is up for debate. Stuff like that, I can 100% believe that is the again, for want of better words, like the DMT realm bleeding into the physical realm.
That's interesting. Yeah, because people supposedly see stuff like that. I've never done any of that stuff before, so I don't know like what that looks like or anything like that. But is that something similar? I know you guys were talking about this stuff with Dave and everything, but is that something similar? Is kind of what you're getting at?
No, I mean I know somebody that essentially took a load of stuff and essentially saw everything around them like the Matrix code, like that's just what everything turned into. Was they felt like they were the way they put it was they hadn't broke through somewhere, so they were kind of like halfway between here and there.
Yeah, I've heard people, I feel like, talk about that where they think it's like a way to see through the simulation, right? To really like, be able to look past it and see the source code, essentially, right?
I mean, I'll like 100% level. I think my soul had left my body, but I don't. That's. I don't think it's necessarily hallucinations when you get to that point. I don't think you're there anymore. I think there's just enough of you left there to keep your body moving and keep your body like waiting for you to come back. There must be some sort of like connection there. I don't believe consciousness comes from the brain. I've always thought consciousness exists outside of the body, and the brain is essentially a receiver. I think it's probably one of the reasons we have people have traumatic brain injuries and stuff like that can't function properly, not necessarily because their brain's broken, but because they can't receive consciousness from the great fucking consciousness provider out there. But
so in a way like whatever the phenomena would be, it almost looks at us and us putting a Neuralink on our brain and saying, why are you putting that piece of junk on something that's already way more advanced? What are you doing? Probably laughing at us, right?
or it's the David Icke theory of that there isn't multiple consciousnesses, and we are one single consciousness that's experiencing itself in many different forms.
Looking at like some sort of matrix. Well, speaking of some sort of matrix thing, when I was, I think about 7 or 8, I remember going to the dentist, and I think I had to get one of the back teeth removed. And I don't think they do this anymore. But do you remember the laughing gas?
Yeah, they still do that, I think.
Do they still do that? Well,
yeah,
I had the laughing gas, and I can remember going under, but when I went under, everything.
The laughing gas was replaced for the dentist's penis.
everything went into like a. I can still remember this to this day. Everything went like a grid.
Way to get us back on brand, Lee.
Yeah. my vision went into like some sort of grid, and I can still remember that to this day. Like that was really, really weird, and I remember seeing I probably shouldn't have watched the RoboCop film, but I watched the RoboCop film shortly after that, and I thought that is just like I thought I was a machine as a child. I wondered if I'm a robot. Yeah. Odd
For
story.
me, I've done probably about 8 grams of mushrooms in one go, which is past the heroic dose, as one would say. And I think
seven grams isn't it the heroic dose? Is it 7?
I heard it's 5.
5
is apparently.
So you said, "Fuck it, we'll just almost double it."
Yeah, fuck it, yeah. But
I mean, like, I
noticed-
commend you for it, for sure. Yeah.
Oh no, it's yeah, you got to really prepare for it. But I noticed.
Did you
once
film it
go
for
across-
science or what?
Oh no, I got on camera. I filmed all my trips. Yeah, as an
cool.
experiment.
He can't show us because
but-
he ends up fucking the blow up alien behind him.
Hey, you leave
And he thought it was fucking him.
that alien has seen some shit.
He certainly has. Yeah, he's a naughty corner at the moment. But I noticed, right, the point where you go across that realm, everything becomes pixelated. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Everything's morphed
absolutely,
into like
yeah.
into one. I can't say I've seen that code. What you guys are talking about? That
No, I
sounds
haven't
awesome,
seen.
honestly.
Sorry, I never saw that code. I did. Like Lee saw some of that code. I saw pixelation, so I didn't explain that very well. I did see pixelation. I remember looking through these trees, and it was like the sun was going down, and through when I'm looking at that sun that showed the matrix bit, through some of the gaps in the trees look like pixely light, like almost like somebody dropping fairy dust through the light. But they just reminded me of that, the fact that the matrix things are going down. I didn't see green matrix symbols. I think they possibly could have been like little stars or crosses or whatever, but going through the light. But yeah, not those exact shapes.
Did you experience any time dilation, Nick?
Yeah. Oh.
Time didn't exist.
Yeah.
There was no sense of time for me. It was. I asked my missus, like, "What time is it?" She says, "Oh, I was like." You asked me like 10 minutes ago, and it felt like 2 hours had gone past. It was like, I understand you leave your body, but at the same time you can control your body. At the same time, it's such an odd feeling.
No, I couldn't control my body. That was I felt what felt like a hand scoop inside my neck and pull me out, and then I was just accelerated forward, and then there was that was it. Then I wasn't there anymore. That was and it was I felt like I had physical form, but I didn't have physical form because there was nothing. I didn't have hands and feet or anything like that. But I was still me. I was still me. I was still my thoughts and stuff, which I found interesting.
That's why you feel like consciousness is separate then, because even though you felt like you got out, I was still there. Right?
Yeah.
I was looking at Lee in the room, and I didn't. What happened to Lee didn't happen to me. I just had the kind of like this is fucking wild. But Lee was glowing fucking pink. His whole body was glowing pink.
And then all I can remember is Ollie's voice going, "You look warm. Let's take those pants off." Yeah.
Take my hand, child.
It's a strong hand. I know it's weird.
Take my small hand.
Have you looked into that? I mean, like the color of essentially like the auras, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, the oddly enough, what the color that that Ollie saw was like this pinky color was like an your crown chakra, isn't it? Like the one that exists above you.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty. I thought that was interesting because I know Ollie didn't. You don't know anything about, do you, about the chakra colors or anything like that?
What do you mean researching after?
Yeah.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, no, it's certainly interesting. No, what I was going to say about time was before
I do now. I do know about the pink thing now.
Before shit even started, the first thing I noticed was when I was speaking to people, I got the end of conversations, the beginning of them, and the middle all jumbled up. And then I had to try and piece together what was there. So like immediately time broke down and I was getting served time in the incorrect slices, if you know what I mean. Like I was witnessing the end of the conversation before it started. Like
Wow, that's crazy.
like fucking deja vu on steroids. That's
Oh,
the
I see.
best one
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah. So, but if it not just like experiencing
Wow.
deja vu for the end of something or a certain point, but like the beginning as well. It's so fucking difficult for my tiny brain to like to say it. Then I went and looked into some of the DMT entities as well that people come to see. I think what I saw as a mechanical wood carving, which was like there was like a mechanical wood carving in front of me, and it would turn and twist and open up essentially. And every time it opened up, it felt like a wash over me, and I'd hear like a loud gong sound. And every time that would happen, it would show me some other not very nice facet of my personality. And I then looking in other people's trips, I would say that is probably what people refer to as the machine elves. That's the clockwork nature of it. And then as soon as that part of it was over, like the Hat Man sort of came to me, but he had no face. It was like a faceless man in a suit with a bowler hat, and he was just stood looking at me. If you can look at something without eyes. And then I saw maybe 4 or 5 visions of things, and they came like paintings, and I can't remember what they were. Like as hard as I try, I can't. Like it's almost like there's a block, because I remember everything else so well, but I can't remember these images that were shown to me. And
when
then
you say you seen like this wooden box, is that like in the room and you still see like the rest
like
of the room around you?
All encompassing. Like it was my entire vision was this.
Oh,
Have you seen have you ever seen Interstellar? I can't imagine you being a man that has managed to make it through the entire Interstellar.
I enjoyed Interstellar. It was okay. I don't think it was as great as everyone says it was.
Do you remember the end of it? Do you remember the end of it?
Yeah, where he's between the bookshelves. Very much.
Was it similar to that?
Kind of, yeah. Kind of.
It's interesting, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you something. Like speaking of clock, like patterns and like Tetris pieces moving around, and you might be aware of this, Matt. Maybe you, Nick, as well. But especially you, Matt. Have you ever heard people reporting UFOs up close and personal? The underneath being like a puzzle, and having like Tetris pieces and all sorts of like weird patterns.
No, I've just heard people like talk about the skin of the craft looking like scales or
that's
things
what
like that.
That's before they go and they go somewhere else. So like Lee's talking about there being in this place with this fucking pattern. A lot of people have described that before abductions, seeing these like Tetris patterns underneath this huge thing, and then they gone blackout.
I know what I'm going to look up tonight.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've never heard of that, dude. I never have. Just the skins of the craft being interesting, being put together like scales and stuff like that. So it's kind of that idea. It moves. You know, it seems like the skin of the craft is alive. You hear stuff like that, but I haven't heard it in like a Tetris kind of form of pieces. No.
I think I've even seen images of it on the internet of like Tetris pieces underneath a craft. But yeah, that's probably for another show. Can you imagine if they
Back off the mic there, Ollie. You nearly blew my ears out.
can you imagine if they managed to somehow, I don't know, get everybody, the whole world, to start to trip? That is exactly how everybody would believe in aliens. Everybody would.
I don't think so.
No, I don't. I believe in
everybody
aliens.
tripped at the same time.
No, I believe in aliens less.
No, but if you didn't know what was going on, can you imagine if they just put something in the water and everybody were just starting to fucking...
No, I think you would know what's going on. That's the thing. I think there's a fundamental knowing to this stuff, like a fundamental understanding of when you're there, that you know where you are and you don't know where you are at the same time.
What? So what I'm saying is, if everybody was given this but unknowingly.
The problem is when you came down, it would be normal again, and people would just say everybody was drugged. Like they'd have a reason around it. Right?
I think a vast majority of people will actually lose their mind because everyone's different. You know, when you get someone who's very, very
important.
Definitely, yeah. If someone's out in the field or in a very uncomfortable environment, I can't see it going well. Especially, it depends on the person. If they're very, very sensitive and kind of weak, and you give them a fat dose of mushrooms, good luck. I don't think they ain't going to cope.
I don't believe that right. As far as the breaking through part, I think everybody can take drugs and they can get some sort of response from it. I don't think you can. I don't think you can break through by forcing your way through. I think you've got to be accepted through.
Yeah, you have got to let the trip happen.
Yeah, but it's not just that. Like in the, let's just say, for instance, Ollie, without saying too much, we'd have to we'd have to sit down with a calculator and work this stuff out. I think there might have been more funny stuff flew around of the same varieties of stuff on another day when we were there, when we were in the US before like the big trip day. But like it being in a different environment, a different setting, it was just like happy times. But in a different setting, in a different environment with different intentions, I had my fucking soul filleted from my body.
Yeah. You came back though, so that's the good news.
Oh, yeah, it's not right though. It's I came back, but I'm not right. The I don't I like what I think would be a good thing for people to experience that sort of thing is I have less death anxiety now.
So is that because you feel that death is going to feel in a similar sense, and so you kind of got a sneak preview? Is that kind of? I think death is the ultimate fucking pass through. You know, if you talk about breaking through somewhere, that is the last moment of breakthrough.
So you're saying basically what you've experienced is a glimpse into the other side.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe it's the waiting room. You know, I'm not sure. Maybe
purgatory.
That's the foyer. Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Like Beetlejuice.
There was such a feeling of judgment about it though. Like even when I was coming down from it, like after all of the stuff went on, like everything opened up and it was much more like the infinite white room type thing, and I felt like I was outside, but I wasn't outside. It kind of felt like if you were in a nice big clear open day, but I wasn't. It didn't feel like I was outside because there was no sky and stuff. And I kind of I woke up with this feeling, and I kept doing that. I remember when I was explaining to Ollie and Dave, I said I don't understand, but that motion of putting my hands forward like that really meant something. I don't know what it meant. But I felt like that I was given something, like as if to say, look, we've had a little chat, like go away, work on yourself, and you'll be back again at some point. I mean, I genuinely like the stuff that I was sort of put through and things that were sort of like deeply personal things. I'd want to make sure that if I did that again, I'd worked on that shit, because almost in a way that I kind of wouldn't want to go back there if they were angry at me for not trying my best.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it now. You know, if I had the opportunity to do the same thing now, I wouldn't do it now. I'm not. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be. I would fear the outcome right now if I did it.
Wow.
It's I have to admit, if anyone's out there who are planning to do a trip and to experience the other side,
I trip mean
just
to like
prepare-
Spain with speaking code.
yeah, speaking in code in Minecraft, just prepare yourself. Everyone has different experiences.
Yeah,
I've had some.
Try be
I've
with
had some-
someone that can be a guide as well. Try be with someone that's done that a lot, knows what they're doing, somebody that's willing to stay sober while you do it.
I have my missus to thank for my trips, because if it wasn't for her, God knows what will happen to me, because I've had some bad trips, and when it's bad, guys, it is bad. You think being super drunk is worse? God, wait to have a bad trip. It's not nice. When you see the portal opening and you go, no, I'm not ready. No, you go in, and like, no, I don't want to. It's weird because it's like you're. As I was going through that bad trip, it's like you're going like, no, this is really bad. You're tripping balls, and at the same time, it's like, no, just let go into it. But the outer conscious of your brain is going, no, you need help, man. You are tripping balls. Like, seriously, you get a grip, man. It was such a weird back and forth, and it just ruins the trip. But you live and learn, man. That's it. But if you are planning,
do you not think it's like I mean, I've not been abducted, but essentially like being abducted. Like I remember, and I've said this on the show, a dream I had. I fell asleep when I was putting my little boy to bed, and all of a sudden I felt like I was floating. Next minute I know, I'm outside the house, and then I realized I was off the ground. I went like that, and I jumped in the bed, and at the same time my little boy jumped out of bed as well, and he was like,
yeah, because you just scared the shit out of him.
I think so. Yeah. But it was so fucking weird, and I can only imagine that somebody, that feeling of just losing all consciousness and everything and going into that light is essentially like having a trip, you know. But
I think it's exactly the same thing.
Yes, but so how do you explain it? The people who've not taken anything, but they still get the same experience when they see these dark shadow figures over them, essentially looking over them.
Because it's a real phenomenon. Because it's a real phenomenon. It's not something that's brought on by drugs. It's not hallucination. It's part of the fabric of our reality.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, why does it happen to these people when they've taken nothing to actually see it? That's
because I don't think you necessarily have to.
What's the potion that you need?
I don't think you need to take drugs for that sort of thing. You know, it's like you look at ancient cultures. You know, ancient cultures have got there through like deep meditation and fucking drums, like drum circles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's more ways to do that. I'm sure if you're out there and you learn like all this fucking crazy breath work, there's ways to get to the same place through using breath work.
Yeah, you know, my dad was doing something. Have you ever heard of something called still point breathing? You ever heard of that? I think my wife just threw something over there. I'm gonna be still real soon, I think. No, but it was something called still point breathing, and I don't know, I can't remember exactly what it was all about, but it was breathing techniques, and he had mentioned that he had seen, you know, my grandma and grandpa in the room when they were doing that. And so I don't know. Maybe people can look that up and see what that's all about. But he didn't want to talk too much about it. My dad was big into meditation, dude. Really big. Every day, every morning, he would meditate. But that whole system, and they were kind of working through some stuff, I think, with him at the time. But yeah, he said he sees his parents in the room. My grandparents. It's crazy.
And they passed away as well.
Oh yeah. They were already dead. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Mm.
My grandfather on his side, I've never even was able to meet. It was just my grandmother. Yeah. So
I think there's like knock-on effects to that sort of stuff as well. Like I remember after that, when I closed my eyes, I could still like see fractals and stuff like that in my mind's eye for maybe 2-3 days afterwards, and then like maybe day 4, maybe day 5. I can't put an actual time scale on it. I remember just like closing my eyes at one point, going, "Oh, it's all gone now."
Yeah, I have to admit, when you're in a dark place and you're having a trip, you shut your eyes and you can see the geometric patterns and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fractal, isn't it? I don't know if you guys noticed that. I mean, it depends on the person who does the trip, but I think going in a dark place, silence, even like meditate, I think that's where you can actually progress into the other realm. I think if you're up doing stuff, I mean, it depends on the power of the trip. I think you really have to sort of relax and allow the trip to happen.
I think even without going that far, I think like if you, I'm quite into if I get to bed like early enough, for instance, I know like the early enough when it's dark enough that you're in bed early enough that you don't have sleep anxiety about getting to sleep. I don't know if you guys ever have that. You know, so like when it starts to approach midnight, you go, "Oh fuck! If I don't get to sleep in half an hour, it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning."
Yep. All the time.
Yeah. So if I can go to bed early enough, which is very fucking rarely now because we do so many fucking podcasts, but I can get myself into a state where I wouldn't call it tripping by any stretch of the imagination, but I would call it like a mind journey, if you want, you know, where like that the blackness when you close your eyes just seems a bit different than it does when you normally close your eyes if you really concentrate on it and really try.
You get floaty. Sometimes you can tell when you're about to fall asleep, you can feel that really come on. You're like, "Oh, I'm about to go," and then you go, and then you remember that you felt that way. Yeah.
There's a really weird one. I did the Gateway tapes for quite a long time as well. I never really had like what some people have said that they had with them. But what I did find was that I would like 100. I would pass out in some sort of like almost like hypnotic state because I would go to sleep when they were doing the countdown. I'd pass out and I'd only wake up through the tape when he was counting you awake. You know, at the end of the session. That was always pretty weird.
Wow.
Do any of you boys, like when you were a kid, did you ever used to like float around the house? Like, I'm talking tiny. Do you have any memories of like possibly being asleep, but essentially just floating around the house?
No,
I've never. I
I
can remember doing that. I can remember watching a film, like up in the corner of the stairs, where it would have been impossible for me to watch it in the old house, and my mum and dad would have the door open a bit, and I'd be watching it through the crack in the door, not really knowing what's going on in the film, and not even hearing the sound properly or anything like that, but just remembering that I'd come off the landing and just float like over the top of the stairs and then be in the corner of the hallway.
Try to work out why.
Yeah, nobody.
Trying to work out why Mother Ollie was calling his dad Daddy.
Yeah, no, I can just remember that. I think that's that. I've looked into this, and there's quite a few people that recall themselves floating as a child and without no body.
I've never had a dream of flying before. People say everyone has that. I've never had a dream where I was like Superman, dude. I don't know what that's about, but maybe it'll come one day.
And it's not quite like Superman. It's very, very slow motion. If you like, have you ever been chased in a dream and when somebody's chasing you, trying to escape, and it's just you're slow? The flying's kind of like that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, dreams is weird.
Something to it, 100%.
You think dreams are connected then?
Yeah, I think it's all connected.
God, I hope not. I've died in some dreams, man, or I've at least been like really effed up in some dreams. I don't want that to happen. I've been shot in dreams a couple of times. And that's a weird one too, because like you're in that moment and like you see the person kind of turn to you with the gun, and like you have that moment of like you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be shot. There's no way around it, and I'm about to have this happen. And it's like then it happens, and you don't really wake up right away, and you're like, God. People always say, well, dreams are glimpses maybe into the future. I hope that's a past life that I don't have to go back to. It's a glimpse of the past, maybe, or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
I've said on the show before, quite a few times, that there was a dream that I remember constantly having as a child, where I'd go down this corridor, I'd go into this room, there would be a huge bed, and I created like silk sheets over the bed, quite old looking, and huge opening door bay windows that would go out to a balcony, and I'd look over the balcony, I'd fall, I'd wake up.
I've got a really weird story about dreams. It's not my dreams. It was my son when he was born. We're talking like pre-words. He from the minute we brought him home, he was a good sleeper. I don't think I had like one like sleepless night. Like even when he was a baby, he was awesome. The only time he'd wake up is now and again he'd wake up crying, and then as soon as he was kind of like a toddler age where he could sit up, I remember he woke up crying. He was like, he was in his own room quite early as well. We actually, because like people say you shouldn't do it for like 6 months, but like the amount of technology you have now, with the mats and the cameras and all, Jesus Christ, it was like that child was like the Pentagon.
The plane.
Yeah, that was unfortunately he was hit by a jumbo and we didn't have any footage of it. But we went. Me and my girlfriend went to see him, and he sat up in bed and he just looked at us like massive big saucer eyes, and he just started doing this with his arm like that, and then he's like, "That's fucking weird." So anyway, left that. This went on. So as he progressed, he still kept having this recurrent nightmare, and then there was he progressed from just doing that to like spinning around like that, and then he eventually, when he could talk, because like I say, this started from not being able to talk, and he was still having this recurring dream, and it like broken words. He explained to me that he kept having this dream where he was on a boat, and it was going towards rocks, and he couldn't get the boat to stop, and he'd jump out of the boat before it hit the rocks, and he'd wake up. So the crazy thing about that was, obviously we're talking waves here, but the spinny round thing, he was explaining that he couldn't stop the propeller on the boat, but he was doing that before he could speak. If you ask
if I knew what a propeller was,
if you ask a kid to draw a boat, he's going to draw you a sail and he's going to draw a boat, and there's not going to be a motor on it. And I found that fucking weird. But then it stopped, and because I remember I asked him, I said, "So what happened with the dream? Like, did you have that dream anymore?" And it freaked me out to the point where I had to
too much P Diddy going on here.
Me out to the point where I had to ring my dad up, make sure he was okay, because my son turned around and said, like, yeah, I had the dream the other night, but Granddad was with me, and he turned the boat.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and then he's never had the dream since. It was wild.
Whoa, okay, that's even more interesting that it was done
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah,
Mhm.
wow.
That is
No such thing as coincidence.
No. But yeah, there was a little
That's
bit of
right.
me when he said that. I was thinking, was this last night? Am I going to like ring that up and all of a sudden he's died and he's like his last moment on Earth was fixing Arthur's dream?
Wow.
So yeah, wild.
That's crazy.
speaking of
Yeah,
crazy.
I barely have dreams. I can remember because I do I 420 a lot, and it actually restricts your dreams. Right, I barely have anything.
Yeah,
and I remember
yeah.
there was a period I stopped smoking for about 8 months, and my God, the dreams were so realistic. A lot of it was horror related. The last dream I had was, have you heard of the back rooms?
Yes.
Yes, that. I was literally in that for real, and I knew I was in the dream. That was the last one I had, and it was so scary, but it's so vivid. Like, I remember being like going into like garden centers and stuff like that, like actually being in there, like really weird stuff. Yeah,
I think it's wild when you do we just hang on, just completely not unrelated, but odd thing. Do you guys fall asleep really easily if you watch YouTube or TikTok? Like if you sat on the couch and you're watching TikTok or something like that, for some reason it knocks me out. Like if I'm not like sat up taking notice of it and I'm like comfortable and things, like the next thing is my phone will be on the floor. Like, oh fuck, I fell asleep.
I was watching an episode of Lou Reviews the other day. But I mean,
it's okay. Apparently, he's going to change tactics. Where he's going to be doing a cooking show where he's reviewing British food. It's going to be called Stew Reviews. But I can't fucking remember what I was going to predict. What I was going to say now.
No, I fall asleep. I listen to the rain every night. But I do like the iPhone thing where I can put like the rain background sound over something I'm listening to, which I like to do that anyway. But like sometimes I'll have a Twitter space and I'll just leave it on, dude, and I'll fall asleep with something like that. Or I used to listen to a lot of Howard Stern old episodes at night and listen to that stuff. But then I just find myself laughing probably a bit too much. But it's mostly rain nowadays, dude, because I started like I wanted to get my dreams back. I was noticing that when I was listening to something, my brain was engaging. If it was rain sound, I was good. I could dream. But when I get into the non-rain stuff, that's when it starts ripping my dreams. And I'm like, maybe my REM sleep is really getting killed by this. I got to change this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen to lots of ASMR before I go to bed. Like the shout out fucking GB ASMR. She's the best. But yeah, it's weird. Like with
what examples is it?
Like weird mouth sounds, like people tapping on cork, scratching noises.
When you say weird mouth sounds, it's like she like makes saliva noises.
Yeah, mic scratching. I'm a sucker for mic scratching.
Really, you like that? You do?
Yeah.
Oh, not for me, man. Not for me. I can't get into any of that stuff. I don't know what it is. I can't get into it. People love it.
Sorry, that's what I was going to say. Is it's really weird when you, like if you're. I find it happens quite a lot if you sleep during the day, which I don't very often. But if you can fall asleep for like 3 minutes and have like what feels like hour-long dream, I always find that really weird.
I used to fall asleep quite often in the day if like I'd be off work and when my kids were little and I'd like put them down to sleep in the cot and I'd go, right, I'm going to play a computer game now. And I'd be like, and I'd fall asleep with the controller in my hand playing a bloody computer game. And I'd have the best like kip going.
DW has pointed out that Dave listens to the screams of his prisoners.
Oh my god!
Oh, brilliant.
Dave's like, yeah, I do. Oh dear. Well, we've got
I'm glad the thumbnail was about UFOs and what the secrecy is all
I
about.
was just about to bring that up. I had my finger hovering over it. It's been Lee did say, why put a label on the Sunday show? Let's just do a hangout. I think he's right.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
the week shows will be they'll be branded,
Mhm.
but audio
Yeah.
only, people.
Yeah, obviously we'll be recording another one tomorrow, which will be up Tuesday. This will be up this evening probably if we're wrapping it up soon. Like shows every week, every weekday. Just make sure you go and subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the other podcast places. It really does help. Again, we're getting so many reviews now on Spotify, that's what's going to help us on the algorithm. If Apple Podcasts as well, we need more reviews on Apple. I don't know if it's as easy as it is on Spotify to do. If it's slightly harder, just put more work in. We deserve it. So yeah, that'd be great if you could do that. Other than that, gentlemen, what have you got coming up? Let's
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I spent, I shouldn't say this out loud, probably about 600 quid on books. A lot of books from America. So I've got a lot of videos coming out on that. And that's on Cosmic Twilight, and follow me on Investigate with Nick on Rumble as well. So yeah, that's all to come.
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, of course, Terrestrial Material, and I do on Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I go over like the highlights from the week for UFO news and things like that. A little bit of AI. We're kind of tracking along with the AI video situation and seeing, just how advanced it's getting. So that's really a lot of fun. And then every once in a while, Twitter Spaces, so you can follow at Terrestrial Material on Twitter, and you can jump in there and have a conversation too. I'm going to start doing more of those, so there'll be more. So yeah, multiple places to catch me. And then over here with you guys, man, on Sundays, it seems like that's the norm. Yeah, it's great, man. That's great.
Well, boys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you go down in the description and check out these lads. And yeah, like Lee says, go give us a 5-star review. If you are listening to this show on Spotify or Apple Music, I don't think they're listening to it on Amazon yet, are they, Lee?
No, and they probably won't be. That seems to be an issue with our host, because a friend of ours podcast experiences the same issue with Amazon Podcasts. But let's be perfectly honest, who listens to fucking podcasts on Amazon Music? Like, I mean, I just look at that as a serial killer filter, if I'm perfectly honest.
So if you are listening to the podcast and you want to actually see our faces every Sunday live, Alien Addict Live, like, share, and subscribe, people, all that jazz. And yeah, check out the merch store. Good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite, people.